Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So Alliance War season has restarted. We are in season 40 now. Jesus Christ, there has been a lot of them. And I am going to be using Nimrod, Cosmic Ghost Rider and Havok. And this actually turned out to be extremely interesting war. We are going up against Matrix. And my first fight is going to be this void. So I didn't have any fights in section 1, but that's fine because I have some very spicy fights in rest of the war. So this one is Hazard Shift Conflictor Void, and in hindsight I didn't quite employ the correct strategy here, but that's okay. The point is get your void in, get your CGR in and just nuke him down. And here, the one thing I thought I probably would be better off waiting out that shock phase before I start doing all my shenanigans, but Crumbling Armor puts an armor break on me, and here I basically screw up and eat the second part of that heavy attack. So at this point, I do have a debuff on me already, and I need to make haste. Luckily, we are in the bleed phase now, and after the first level 2, I eat void level 3. So this was one of those moments where I was frantically mashing. So here we go. I complete my cycle, but what happens is that the conflictor eats up my fate seal, and with that he gains the power, and he's at 3 bars of power. So he's at 3 bars of power and I'm at 3 bars of power. And what happens is, even though I tapped my level 3 button like a maniac, he gets to his level 3 first, but that's fine. I mean, not really potions, but it's okay. So as soon as he finishes his level 3, it's my turn. We do have some armor breaks on him, the rest of the stuff, fight goes down. So this fight definitely could have gone better. Could have gone much better. I did not expect him to get to that level 3. This wasn't the scariest fight though. The scariest fight that I have to take is that Absorbing Man. And keep in mind that at the time I'm doing all of these fights, at this time, we are tied. So we are 2-2, and every death obviously is extremely important. Not to mention that this is the very first war of this season, and we have to have a better season than last time around. I didn't have the worst season ever. I think I died only once in a fairly dodgy fight to begin with, but as an alliance we definitely did have quite a rough season. And this is a very tricky placement because we have Hazard Shift, Shock and Bleed. Then we have a Mystic Champion, obviously some Mystic Dispersion is a problem and is something to worry about. And it's an Absorbing Man. An Absorbing Man is not necessarily the easiest champion to fight against either, especially without, a science counter typically, because majority of the champions that can deal with Absorbing Man's regeneration and rest of the abilities are science. And we were thinking quite long and hard which would be the best option, and we ended up going back to Havok. And I am super happy that I have taken my Havok up to rank 4 because he put in a ton of work in Battlegrounds for me already. And he obviously has been great for taking Dr. Dooms down here. And now we're going to see how it goes against this Absorbing Man. Now, I did change my mastery setup for this. I basically kind of made my Havok much more tanky, gave him max energy resistance as well. Put on Coagulate and the rest of the stuff to make the bleeds do less damage in case I do need to get some bleeds on me and expire quicker. But the plan is to use the feedback damage to mitigate his regeneration, and then obviously punish his heavies with my heavies, punish his level 1 with my heavies, and then, see the feedback do the work as it is at this point. As we can see already, Absorbing Man has lost 1/3 of its health. And when it's the bleed phase, I do prefer to kind of spend the time hitting his block rather than hitting him directly to kind of stall for time. When it is shock phase, I obviously don't mind getting shocks on me because that kind of like supercharges my plasma detonations. And that is pretty much what I do with this entire fight. Bait out his level 1s, punish them with my heavy attacks, do not block, and hit his block when need be, and punish his specials with my heavies, and we can see that he's ticking down very, very fast. But at that point, I noticed that I had reached 3 bars of power, and all of a sudden, this super, super scary fight went down a treat. So the plan worked great. I was very happy with this fight, and there was not much to it. The last 2 fights in this war, I wasn't actually originally scheduled to do, and we were kind of struggling to figure out who would be the better options. This one obviously is going to be super easy, Nimrod job, there's not much to it. What I'm going to do is just going to parry heavy a bit initially whilst the shock phase is on to get some distance, to get some power, to build up my armors, not to get cornered as well. And then at any point there, he can go activate his special attack, that's fine. Go berserk, don't mind. Here again, I just need to keep an eye on his charges. Now he's berserk, wait out the unstoppable whilst he is still unblockable, that's fine. Got in a combo in the bleed phase, and now the shock phase had started, but that's okay because I knew that single level 2 will do the job. So this weapon X is, with Nimrod, kind of like a mood factor. Now, next up, I got given Odin's pre-fights for this fight primarily, because we figured that CGR should be able to just deal with this fight quickly enough. With Rich Get Richer, I should be offsetting the power gain that Gore gets because of Odin's pre-fights, and then when I can nullify his buffs, all should be fine. Now, this fight didn't exactly go as planned, but you guys are going to see that in a second, but that's okay as well. I don't mind too much. At the moment, he's still winning the buff fight. Again, not a big deal. But I get my vigilance active, and now I'm the one that's in lead with the buffs because I have 5. I go for a heavy attack, which was completely unnecessary because I have Odin's pre-fight and I had kind of forgotten about it. And at that point, I decided that I'm just going to drop a level 3 first. I still have the cosmic power boost back. That's going to give me back some power. At this point, I'm going to be nullifying all of his buffs, and I'm just going to get level 2 and nuke him down, basically, as per plan. So here we go. Level 2, that's one that got it. It is slightly longer fight than it had to be, but it went fine. There's not a big problem there. Now, this next fight, though, is as dodgy as they come, and it's also very, very good placement, in my opinion. I don't think there are too many great counters to that fight. That korg, being a global defender, so having increased combat power rate, obviously korg is not the easiest champion to fight to begin with, and hazard shift extremely limits the amount of champions that you can end up using there. Omega Red and CGR were kind of our best suggestions for this fight, and I ended up doing it with CGR. We kind of had a long discussion which of us should do this, the guy who had Omega Red or me, and I just kind of figured I'll get it done, it's fine. And my plan, I had a teammate also do this fight, and he started with invul boost with half recall setup with liquid courage not active, and it was quite a lengthy fight. So my hope was to get out of this fight quickly. So I put on a power start boost 1, and my goal is to basically not trigger power gain at the start, trigger power gain as a later buff, but ideally get to 3 bars of power when his rock stacks are down, and then just drop my level 3, get that massive fury, and then kind of nuke down the fight. So the first level 3 damage doesn't seem to be the best, even though I do have full recall setup here with 200% cosmic boost with everything else. And here I'm going to make a small mistake and dashed in whilst he was unblockable, also get an Amazon notification, but that's fine. And now everything's going to actually line up pretty much perfectly because he's in his incinerate phase from hazard shift, so I can be as aggressive as I want. And I just got rid of his rock stacks, so his rock stacks just were basically eliminated. I'm going for my second level 2. This one hits significantly harder already because I still had the fury from the first one active. And now we can see that I get back significantly more power. And even though he's in poison phase, here the only mistake I made is I baited out that special attack. I should not have baited that special out. I should have just finished it with my level 2, but that's fine. And even though he's in poison phase and my health is ticking down quickly, at this point I just completely nuked that. And it wasn't that scary of a fight, realistically. I wouldn't mind doing it again, I suppose, if it's the last fight I need to use CGR, because again, I would use pretty much the same strategy, more or less, where I'm not overly focused on which phase the korg is, obviously trying not to be hyper aggressive in the poison phase, but basically go for level 3 or 2 level 3s and then just nuke him down as fast as I can, even if I have debuffs on me there. And that worked out fine. Unfortunately, it is one of those wars, or the war setups, where I ended up using like 5 potions, which kind of irks me because that's quite a lot of loyalty and whatnot. And after the last season where I used Kingpin for a ton of very weird fights, I actually emptied my potion stash quite drastically for war. So I kind of want to be a little bit more economical. But I'm very happy with the Absorbing Man fight, and I'm super happy that I didn't screw this fight up as well. And again, at the point when I finished this fight, we were tied with our opponents. Each alliance had died 2 times. And it was a very, very close and scary war, especially for the start of the season. Luckily for us, though, we kept our form till the end, and our opponents just slipped up towards the end. It was quite literally, there were at 2 deaths the one moment, and the next time I looked at, they were at 9, and then they died a few more times. And now it's quite obvious that we will win this war. But hey, well played to Matrix. Definitely some very tricky placements. I absolutely loved that Absorbing Man fight with Havok. I thought it was very, very cool placement. And the matchup itself is something that, I don't know, I just enjoyed. I thought it was very interesting and cool. Let me know how is your war season starting. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons. And I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the